Okay, this is part two. This is part two of Countdown. Oh my gosh. That was the weirdest thing, you guys. My husband thinks that, perhaps they didn't like what I was saying. I don't care. Anyhow, um, honey, can you see if you can see where it says part two? You're on. Am I broadcasting out there? Okay. All right. Anyway, so I am so sorry about the abrupt ending of that live stream. They cut me off. I did not do. I did not do that. I don't even know what the last thing was that I said, but I hope you guys will tune back in for a quick minute. Um, Let me know if you're back online on this part two. I had to put it part two. You see what they did to me, right? Just go ahead and sign back in, you guys, so that I'll know that you know that I'm back online. They ain't like that. Oh well. Public enemy number one. Whatever. My gosh, I tell you what. Well, I'm glad you all can hear me and see me. Were you there for part one? This is part two because they cut me off a few minutes ago. So this is part two. I don't care. Anyway, my parting words are, I care about people. I do what I'm doing because I care about people. And um maybe because we were talking about Canada. Yeah, they ain't like that either. Um I had a birthday last week. And I think it was last week. Anyway, um and when you get to be my age, well, actually it was before I got to be this age. But when you get to be my age, you just don't have time for foolishness, or silly people or silly agendas or any of that stuff. And I found that over the last, couple of years, I just distance myself from stuff that doesn't bear fruit. I distance myself from people that are driven by selfish ambition. Um, and I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. I don't have interest for it. I really don't. Our nation and our states and our cities are facing some very serious issues, very serious issues. And that's where my heart is. Um, People have got to become more involved in what's going on in their city and what's going on in their state. And I know that you can look at it and say, wow, how can I make a difference? What the heck can I do? This is such a mess. I'm just one person. But I think you're going to find out you're not the only person. That's the thing, you know and and sometimes it is that lone voice. Sometimes it is just the one person that gets things rolling. It only takes a spark to get a fire burning, right? And so you have to take an interest in where you live and an interest in your own life, enough of an interest in your life to want to see things change. And some people just they don't like the challenge. They don't want to hold anyone accountable. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to do any of it, you know. And so it's a sacrifice when people decide they're going to stand up and actually speak out against injustice and things like that. There's always a price that goes with that. Martin Luther King paid the price, Malcolm X paid the price, different people paid the price, Rosa Parks paid the price, all these different people, George Washington paid the price. All these people paid a price. Even if you go to the scriptures, there are people that paid a price for what they knew was just and right for the people. And I think what has happened today is that people have grown more in love with themselves than they have for their fellow man and for their own respective nations. And it causes you to become narcissistic and inward looking all the time, where you have no desire to help anyone else, or to understand another person's plight or anything like that. Now, let me clarify that statement, because somebody would jump on here and say, well, I understand the plight of people. That's why I think we should have open borders. That's why I think people should be allowed to come in. That's why I think the planet belongs to everybody. Yeah, well, here's the thing. Um, you're not paying the cost to manage everything everywhere. So kind of don't belong. You know what I mean? You don't have a vested interest in everything. So it kind of don't belong to you. Um, and again, we're a nation that loves people. We've always taken care of people, but we are being absolutely raped and abused right now in our country by people who don't know anything about our culture except what they saw on television. You know, it's the land that flows with milk and honey. Let me tell you something. The bees are going to die off, and ain't going to be no milk because they keep killing off the cows, right? What's going to flow then? Now they're going to come and take your stuff because you thought it was a good idea that they all come here not invest in anything. Just take your stuff. That's all. Oh my gosh. Anyway, listen. I am trying to move more into personal care. When I say personal care, I mean taking care of people personally. Um, my desire is to be able to meet with more people one on one, whether it's online or whether it's in person, and try to help them assess where they are right now in their preparedness, and to see if I could try to fill in some holes for them. Maybe there's some things they hadn't thought about. Maybe there's some things they hadn't taken into consideration. Everybody's situation is different, and everybody has to do what works for them. I mean, some years ago, I had a lady, she was telling me about, she says, we would literally have to just shelter in place because I have a mother that I don't know if her mother had Alzheimer's. Something was going on. Something was going on in her family. And she says, we would not be able to move. We would just have to stay here. And she says, I'd have to be able to take care of my mom right here. Okay. So, under those circumstances, she has to prepare for that. If you're in a situation where you absolutely cannot move, then where you are is what you have to prepare for your safety and for longevity. That's what you have to do. If you're in a situation where you can move into a better situation, then you need to assess that. If you're moving from one state to another state, just keep this in mind. All of the elected officials in that state, that ain't a permanent position, okay? So you can move from a state that has these sanctuary city things going on, and you're being pushed out because all these illegals that hate you is taking your stuff, your parking space, and they're coming for your house next or whatever. And then you move somewhere else that's on the fence as far as who they should take care of and who they shouldn't. You may find yourself right back in the same situation, right? So if you're in a position where financially you can move, don't just jump ship. Do your homework. Find out, what are the taxes like? What does the money go for? Where do they stand when it comes to protecting the citizens of this state? What kind of governor do you have? What kind of mayor do you have? What do they want to do with the money, your tax dollars that you hired these people to steward? What are they doing with it? Where is it going? What kind of programs is it going into? Are they taking food out of your mouth and putting it in somebody else's mouth, to keep up with a political whatever they have going on? What's happening, right? So look into that before you jump ship. You know, make sure you have enough medication. Make sure just listen, folks, you have got to prepare. You have to. You absolutely have to. There's too much going on. Food and medicine can become absolutely out of your reach financially if you don't get it now. And I've been trying to tell people that. So people that have been preparing for the last 5 years, 10 years, it takes a long time. And I'm telling you now, 5 or 10 years ago, if you started preparing then and you started putting back a can of beans a week on the shelf for the last 10 years or whatever, you are way ahead of the curve of people that are just now starting now, where a lot of stuff is financially out of their reach because they didn't start before. Well, and some people say, well, I don't have anything extra. I didn't have anything extra. Listen, the price of things were not always where they are now. So what were you doing then? How were you spending your money then? How were you stewarding what you were blessed with then? So that's all I want to say. And I'm not trying to be condemning. I'm just saying we put our money where we would have put where we want to put our money. And sometimes you have to remanage, you have to reshuffle things or whatever. There's always something that you can do, even if it was just one extra can of beans, you know. Um, Hold on for a second. People are trying to contact me. Okay, because because some people say you got kicked offline. I'm offline. Yeah, I'm back on now. I'm back on. Um, Check your money. Watch your money. You see what's happening with the banks, right? You see what's happening with the banks. All these banks, and they're doing it. They ain't just happening here. They're doing it around the world, folks, where they're stealing people's money. They're closing their accounts. If they don't like what you said politically, then they close your account, and they won't necessarily tell you that's why they did it, but that's why they did it. They won't give you a reason. They just say, we've decided not to do business with you anymore. Okay, if they do that and they keep your money, how are you going to pay your bills? Which means you need to have some money at home, at least enough. If you can try to have enough money at home to at least pay 1 month's worth of your bills until you can get the craziness sorted out. Because what if they close your account and then they just hold your funds? You can't even open an account somewhere else and pay your bills, right? I'm telling you, they're doing this stuff. They're doing this stuff. I read an article. um, I guess it might have been about 2 days ago, where the banks are working voluntarily with the feds, turning your financial information over to the feds, and they want to go after anyone who wrote a check or did a wire transfer or anything like that that had the word MAGA on it, that had the name Trump on it, or anything like that. Now, let me tell you something. You have the right to support whatever candidate you want to support. I don't have to agree with your choice, but that's your right, right? You don't have to agree with my choice, but that's my right. And so the government is weaponizing this and trying to destroy people's lives because they don't like who you may want to vote for or who you may want to support. They don't like that. So they're going to go after your bank account. I'm telling you, this is the world we're living in. Psychopaths. If you didn't see part one, look at part one, because I started out talking about the mindset of these people and how if you're raised in that environment of psychiatric medicine like I was, I just can look at people and be like, I know what that is. Now some of it, I may know what it is and might not know the technical term for it, but I still know crazy when I see it. Hello, JB. I'm glad you made it back. I hope some of the other ones can make it back. One of these days, I'm going to get with somebody who can show me how to set up my YouTube thing where I can have a guest on here that's not necessarily sitting right next to me, right? Like the person that I may want to interview or talk to that I think you guys may have, a good time listening to. I want to be able to pull them in on screen, and they could be across the country or maybe in another country, but I can still talk to them in real time, and you all can join in on the conversation. I'd love to do that. I ain't tech savvy. I do okay, but I ain't tech savvy. So somebody would have to help set me up with that. But anyway, all right, I want to read some of the comments. I didn't even know what prepping was. In 2020, God put it on my heart to start getting prepared, and I didn't really get serious about it until, yeah, right? 21. I'd like to hear what made you get serious about it in 2021. You got locked in and thought, I can't get no green beans. Listen, y'all, I'm telling you, this is some serious stuff. And I'm so glad that you said that, because that's the thing about God. He knows how to take care of what belongs to him. He knows how to take care of his people. He did it in Egypt. He did it with the Israelites when they were in a foreign land. He knows how to take care of his people. But we have to do what he says do, and we got to use some common sense. The government is not your God. It's not your God. That's a good place to start. Figure out who your God is, okay? And if God be God, serve him. And if the devil's your God, then serve him. But as for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. So that's what's going to happen with that. And she says, I got serious because I started paying attention to what was going on. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, for me, it's been probably, gosh, I said 10 years, but I think it's more than that. I'm thinking more like, let's see, I've been married to be 16 this year, probably 14 years or so. Yeah, 14 years or so. 14 years ago, I started thinking about it. I started looking at stuff. Yeah, because it was right when Obama took office. When Obama took office, I was like, wait a minute, something's wrong with this. Something's wrong with this. He kept talking about hope and change, and wasn't too much changing, And I thought, oh my God, that before he got into office, my husband could tell you, anybody that knows me could tell you that I said, not that brother. He's dangerous. And he kicked the ball. He was the one that kick-started this whole mess. This whole mess that we're in right now. And he's still running the show. Okay? So, anyhow, when you vote again, don't vote color, folks. Don't be stupid. Some people did that last time. Oh, the first black president. We got the first black person on the national mic lying to the public every single week. Oh, she's black. Oh, she's the first black lesbian person. So those have to be your qualifications to get on the national mic. You have to be a black lesbian. That's it. That's it. That's the best we can do. The best we can do is a black lesbian on the national mic and a man with dementia with his finger on the nuclear switch. That's the best we can do? Really? Wow. So anyway, don't get me. See, I gotta go because I'm getting wound up again. And y'all know, anyhow. All right. So this was part 2. If you just now tuning in, I hope you will look at part 1 and see what we talked about, because it was a lot. I know I said a whole lot in that video, and it's enough to think about, and I want you guys to take it seriously. Do what you can. Please write me. I will answer you. I answer all of my emails. Yes, thank you, Chris. Christopher is my husband, for those of you who don't know, who's the Canadian that I was talking to you about, who is now a legal U.S. citizen and has been for the last nearly 3 years. Praise the Lord. Yes, we paid the money and we did the right thing, the right way. So there you go. And when I was a legal resident of Canada, I went through the process and I paid the money and I did the whole 9 yards. So there you go. Anyhow, you guys, I'm going to end it here. So this is part 2. Please see part 1 if you have not, of this video. And because they abruptly cut me off, I don't care. I came right back. It's like whack-a-mole. I'm back. Anyway, I will see you guys later. I appreciate you so much, because you could be anywhere else, doing anything else, talking to anyone else, and you're listening to me rant and rave like a lunatic on here, and I just keep saying the same thing. Listen, we got to keep beating the drum. People are waking up every day. Different people are waking up at different paces, and this is why I just keep beating the drum, telling as many people as I can. So please share the channel. Please encourage people to listen to these videos, to come back to the channel, to subscribe to the channel, to click the notification bell. YouTube is suppressing notifications. Sometimes people get them, sometimes they don't. Click the bell anyway. Maybe you'll get it. Most of the time, if I sign on live, you'll see, if you're subscribed to the channel, it'll probably show you the Silver Crown is now live. Go ahead and tune in then if you can, and or come back later and listen to the replay, because I leave them up there. So anyway, I appreciate you being here, and thank you so much for just hanging out with me. You know what I mean? And spread the word. Just talk to as many people as you can. Some will, some won't. Some people, they're just not going to listen until it hits their doorstep. And listen, you didn't always know either, right? So show some grace. Don't beat them over the head with it, but show some grace and pray for them that God opens their eyes before it's too late. Okay? All right, you guys. God bless you. And take care. Stay warm. Protect yourself. Protect your goods. Protect your assets. Protect your family. And I'll see you the next time I come on, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. God bless.